What if I told you that a humble janitor, a man who never made more than $20,000 a year, quietly became a millionaire, and no one even knew? This isn't fiction. This is the real-life story of Ronald Read, a man who swept floors by day, read newspapers by night, and built a fortune behind the scenes without anyone suspecting a thing. Ronald Read was born in 1921 in a quiet, rural town in Vermont. His family was poor, and he grew up during one of the hardest economic times in history. The Great Depression. Money was tight, opportunities were limited, and survival required hard work and grit. His father was a farmer and handyman. There was no wealth, no inheritance, just a strong example of working with your hands and living with purpose. Ronald learned early on that nothing would be handed to him. He walked or hitchhiked miles to attend high school and became the first in his family to graduate. He didn't have dreams of riches or fame, just a steady, honest life. He never went to college, but he absorbed lessons wherever he could find them. After high school, Ronald joined the U.S. Army and served in World War II. He was part of a military police unit station in North Africa and Italy. He didn't seek glory. He simply did what needed to be done, just like he always had. When he returned home after the war, he didn't ride a wave of heroism into some glamorous job. Instead, he went back to his quiet town and took a job at a local gas station, working long hours for modest pay. He later became a janitor at a department store. For years, he swept floors, emptied trash bins, and mopped up after people. There were no promotions, no applause. But Ronald didn't complain. He took pride in his work. He was dependable, humble, and kind. But what no one knew was that behind this quiet, unassuming man was a mind focused on something much bigger. Ronald was building wealth. Every day after work, he read financial papers. He studied investing. He read the Wall Street Journal and pored over company reports. He wasn't flashy or showy. He didn't follow hot stock tips or trends. Instead, he bought solid, dividend-paying stocks in companies like Procter Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, and JPMorgan Chase. He didn't chase get-rich-quick schemes. He bought, and he held. He reinvested his dividends. He stayed patient. And while others spent, he saved. He drove a used car. He lived in a small house. He wore simple clothes. And over the decades, his quiet discipline turned into quiet fortune. Ronald understood the power of compound interest. He knew that time, not talent, builds true wealth, and he used that time wisely. While others around him upgraded their lives, Ronald quietly upgraded his future. No one around him suspected he was wealthy. Not his co-workers, not his friends, not even his family. To everyone else, Ronald was just a kind, old janitor who liked breakfast at the local diner. He'd order eggs, bacon, toast, and coffee. He'd tip well. He was always polite. But behind those modest habits was a man who had quietly built a fortune worth over $8 million. When Ronald passed away at the age of 92 in 2014, the world finally learned his secret. The janitor had become a millionaire, and no one knew. But here's what makes his story even more powerful. He didn't keep it. Ronald left the majority of his fortune, over $6 million, to his local hospital and public library. These weren't glamorous donations. They weren't made for attention or headlines. They were made because Ronald believed in giving back to the places that shaped him. The news spread quickly. People were shocked. How could a janitor amass millions? How did no one notice? But the truth is, Ronald didn't care if anyone noticed. He cared about doing things the right way. He cared about building something slowly, with intention, and he cared about helping others. Ronald Read's story challenges everything we've been taught about wealth. We're told that millionaires live in big houses and drive luxury cars. But Ronald proves that real wealth can be quiet, modest, and almost invisible. He also proves that anyone, no matter their background or income, can build wealth. You don't need a six-figure salary. You need six-figure habits. You need consistency, discipline, patience. Ronald's story is a blueprint for anyone who feels like they're behind, for anyone who thinks it's too late, for anyone who believes they can't get ahead. If a janitor with a high school education and a used car can become a millionaire, so can you. But here's what made Ronald different. He didn't let ego get in the way. He didn't try to impress anyone. He focused on what mattered. He was generous. He was humble. And he used money the way it was meant to be used, as a tool to improve lives. Imagine how different the world would be if more people lived like Ronald, if we focused less on appearance and more on impact, if we saved instead of spent, if we learned instead of assumed, if we invested in our futures instead of chasing temporary thrills. Ronald Read isn't just a story. He's a symbol, a reminder that success doesn't have to be loud, that you don't have to be extraordinary to achieve extraordinary things, that greatness often hides in plain sight. He swept floors by day. He read financial pages by night. And in between, he built a legacy that changed his community forever. So the next time you feel discouraged, the next time you wonder if success is possible for someone like you, remember Ronald Read. Remember the janitor who became a millionaire. And remember, if he could do it, you can too. Because wealth isn't about luck or privilege. It's about consistency, patience, and the quiet power of believing in your future, even when no one else sees it yet.